Now we're going to build this Simkin's hardware store example in Excel. So this is a template I have. This is just the distribution we have for demand. This is the distribution for lead time. And this is a table we had. This is a reorder point. This is a reorder quantity. I'm going to assume that the lead time is only 2 days for now. Okay, I know the lead time is actually random, but this part is more complicated. So let's assume the lead time is simply 2 days for now. And then in the next video, I'm going to explain how do you incorporate uncertain lead time. So that also means for now, there's only one uncertainty, which is the demand. So in order to simulate the demand, I need to create a table for VLOOKUP. So let's say I'm going to create a table over here. You need 2 columns in the table. First is the main of bin. The second column is simply the simulated demand. Simulated demand are just those numbers. So I'm going to copy and simply paste. That's easy. Remember, the mean of the bin is this. The first one is always 0. Then going forward, it's just the cumulative probability. So remember here, demand 1, but it's cumulative probability of 0. Demand 0. And then we can just copy it down. And by the way, if you do not understand what I'm doing now, I encourage you to check out this video. Okay, in this video I explain how to simulate an uncertainty using VLOOKUP. Okay, so if you don't familiar with this part, check out the video. I'm assuming you understand what I'm doing now, so I'm just going to go ahead. Alright, so this is a table for VLOOKUP when we need to simulate uncertainty. Now we can fill out this table. We're going to simulate over day, okay? And every day we have so many events. So let's go one by one. You start with inventory 10. You have a random number. You need to simulate the demand. So it's just VLOOKUP. Whenever you need to simulate something, you use VLOOKUP. Look up first the random number. Second, table array, that's a table for VLOOKUP. I am going to put $signs here to fix the reference so I can copy the formula later. Column index number, it's just 2 because we need VLOOKUP to return the second column in this table. Last input is always true. Okay, here we go. So the first simulated demand is 1. Again, if you are not familiar with this, please check out this video. Okay, ending inventory. So we start with this 10 inventory. We have a demand 1, so ending inventory is simply 10 minus 1. 10 this cell minus this cell. But wait a minute. We need to be careful because it's possible that demand is actually higher than beginning inventory, and then this formula will simply give you a negative number. It doesn't make sense. You cannot have a negative ending inventory. Okay, the smallest number that you can possibly have is 0. So how do we incorporate that? Well, there are a couple of ways. The first way is to use an if function, using an if function. So basically, let's say if demand is smaller than your beginning inventory, okay, smaller or equal to your beginning inventory, then ending inventory is indeed this beginning inventory minus your demand. Okay, comma, this is otherwise. Otherwise means if this statement is false, which in other words, if the demand is actually larger than your inventory, then we display what? 0. Okay, so if you do not know how this if function works, I encourage you to simply Google it. Okay, Google is the best friend and actually my best teacher from learning basically anything. So Try to Google those functions if you don't know how to use them. Okay, so that works. That's one way, and let me introduce another way, which is actually more compact. So instead of doing that, usually this is what I do. I use a function called max, M-A-X. So max simply gives you the largest number among the list you give it. Okay, it will return the largest number that you give in the list. What I'm going to do is to take a max between beginning inventory minus demand and comma 0. Okay, so it's the same. It will give you the same result. The difference is that it's more compact. So how does that work? Think about it carefully. If beginning inventory is larger than demand, then this difference is going to be positive, which is larger than 0. So you end up with whatever ending inventory, positive ending inventory. But if beginning inventory is less than demand, then this term is negative, so this whole function will give you 0. Okay, so we get either the larger of this or 0, which is what we want. Next, lost sales. Lost sales is quite similar. You have lost sales only when demand is larger than beginning inventory. So actually, the calculation for lost sales is basically the opposite of ending inventory. We can use similar using max. It's the same logic. You have lost sales when demand minus beginning inventory is positive or at least non-negative. Okay, if that's non-negative, you return that. Otherwise, you return 0. Okay, so again, the idea is the same. You cannot have a negative lost sales. Lost sales is either 0 or something positive. Next, should you order or not? All right, just to remember, when do you place an order? You place an order when two conditions holds. First, the ending inventory is less or equal to your reorder point. Second, there is no outstanding order. This is our day one, so there is no outstanding order for sure. So all we need to concern is if the ending inventory is lower than the reorder point. So we're going to use an if function here. If the ending inventory is less or equal to reorder point, okay, in this case you will order. Okay, how do you print yes? Okay, you can print yes in this way. Here, quotation, okay, yes, close it. Otherwise, you say no. All right, here. Okay, again, if you're not familiar with if function, please Google. Secondly, this thing, whenever you put this quotation mark, Excel recognizes that something you put here is a text. Okay, it's a text format content. Okay, it's text. So no, that's correct. Lead time, as I said, let's assume the lead time is just 2 for now. Okay, so I'm going to put 2. We may not actually need to use it, but let's put it 2. Now I'm going to put something in this column. I'm going to write LT equal to 2. So I'm going to put order quantity over here if we place an order on this day. Okay, you will see why we need that later on, but let me just do it right now. So let me repeat again. What do I put here? I'm going to put the order quantity if I place an order today. Okay, so I'm going to write this. If we place an order, that means if order is yes, if this cell equals to the character yes, then we are going to show the order quantity, which is this cell. I put the $ to fix a reference, comma. Otherwise, I'm going to show 0. Okay, so again, this is the number of order we actually placed on day 1, which is 0 for now. Now I'm going to move on to day 2. You will not receive anything because the lead time is 2. So if you place any order, that will be before day 1, so which is not possible. 0 here. Your beginning inventory. Remember, how much inventory do you have in the beginning? Well, it will be whatever you carry from yesterday. So any inventory from yesterday plus any inventory you just received today. So plus this cell, 9. And now, what about demand? Well, we need to simulate that. So one thing about Excel is you try to use any existing formula as much as possible. Try to reuse the formula you already created. So that means this one. Can we reuse this formula? Well, you need to check out the formula really carefully to make sure all the references make sense. Let me tell you, actually you can. So I'm going to copy and paste the formula here. Likewise, for any inventory and lost sales, can I reuse them? I leave it to you to think about it, but here's the answer. Yes, you can. So I can drag it down to copy the formula. So you can either use copy as I did for demand or just drag it down. Either way is fine. Now let's check out order or not. Okay, can I reuse the formula here? Actually, no, because this formula doesn't consider whether there is an outstanding order or not. That makes sense for day 1 because you will never have an outstanding order in day 1. But for day 2, that's not necessarily true. You may have an outstanding order. If you place an order on day 1, then that means you have an outstanding order. So we need to change the formula. So here you will say, yes, I'm going to order when 2 conditions hold. First, reorder point is less or equal to 5. Second, there is no outstanding order. So that means we need to enter 2 conditions here, and they needs to both hold in order to say, yes, we need to place an order. How do you express I need both conditions to hold here? Well, you need another function called AND. Okay, so in this function, you're going to put several conditions. In this case, 2 conditions separated by comma. Okay, this whole statement will be true for if. Okay, the whole statement for if will be true only if all of the statement in this AND is true. Okay, so the first condition we need is ending inventory is less or equal to your reorder point. I'm fixing a reference. Second condition is no outstanding order. How do you know if there's outstanding order? Well, think about this. This is day 2. Okay, the only way that you have an outstanding order is you place an order in day 1. Okay, how do you know if you place an order in day 1? Well, that happens if this number is not 0. Okay, so in other words, you will place an order if this number is 0. Okay, so if this equal to 0. So let me check it out again. I will place an order if any inventory is less or equal to 5, and I have never placed an order before. I have never placed an order on day 1, which means this number is 0. If those conditions hold, I will place an order. So I give yes here. Otherwise, I type no. Okay, so that's it. Lead time is still 2. Okay, again, this cell, I'm going to store the order quantity if I place an order on this day. So can I recycle this formula? Actually, yes, we can. So I'm going to drag it down. Now move on to day 3. Okay, lead time is 2, so you will never receive anything on day 3, so it's still 0. Beginning inventory, can we recycle this formula? Yes, actually you can. Okay, beginning inventory is always a sum of ending inventory from yesterday and whatever you just received today. We can recycle a formula that makes sense. And what about this 3? Can we recycle the formula from yesterday? You need to check it out and let me tell you the answer. You think about it and you'll find out the answer is yes. So I am going to copy them here. Can I recycle this formula? Let's try it. And let's see what we have. Okay, you still have the condition where ending inventory is less or equal to reorder point. Okay, that makes sense. Second one, we need to make sure there's no outstanding order. Now, how do you know if you have an outstanding order? Think about this. The lead time is 2. Okay, so you would not have an outstanding order if you do not place anything in the previous 2 days. That means these two numbers are 0. Okay, but this is not what it says here, so we need to revise this one. So you do not have an outstanding order if both of those numbers are 0, or in other words, another way to check the same is simply saying, well, if there's sum, if the sum of these two cells equals to 0, then that means none of them is 0. Okay, so that's another way to say the same thing. So I change the formula to this way. Lead time is still 2. Again, what about this cell? This cell is a shipping quantity. Okay, the order quantity. The order quantity in day 3. Do we place an order? Actually, yes. Okay, so can we use the formula here? You check it out. Actually, yes, you can. So I'm going to copy the formula. It works. I place an order and I actually record the order quantity here, which is 10. So now move on to day 4. So day 4, you can possibly receive something. If you actually place an order in day 1, you will receive it by now. If you actually place an order in day 1, this cell records the order quantity. Okay? So, well, actually 0 means we don't place order. Or in other words, you can think it as you actually place an order, but the quantity is 0. But nevertheless, anyway, the unit you will receive on day 4 is going to be simply whatever number over here. Either 0 or 10. Doesn't matter. So it's any number in this cell. And we can recycle this formula, just copy it down. And again, take a look at this 3, you think about it, and let me tell you, you will find that you can just copy them down. It's the same formula. What about this? This is the part you need to think carefully. Okay, over here, you will place an order again if the ending inventory is less or equal to 5 and no outstanding order. How do you tell if you have any outstanding order? Well, the lead time is 2. So no outstanding order simply means that there's no order quantity in the previous 2 days. Okay? Okay, if you place something on day 2, then it will be received at the beginning of day 5. Okay, that's the outstanding order. If you place something in day 1, it will be received already in the beginning of day 4. Okay, so that means you will not have an outstanding order if these two cells adds up to 0. Add up to 0, which means the only way that they will add up to 0 is simply because in the case where both of them are 0. That's the only way that they will add up to 0. Okay, if they both are 0, that means there's no outstanding order. So let's see, can we reuse this formula? In this case, actually, yes. Okay, you can copy it down, but you need to think about it carefully. Okay, it works. So still 2 here. We can still copy the formula here. So that's day 4. Day 5. Okay, unit received. Can we recycle the formula up in the previous day? Actually, you think about it. It turns out yes. What about this one? You can recycle it. Yes, you can. What about this 3? You think about it. You will find out yes, you can recycle it. What about this one? Can we recycle day 4? Actually, in day 4, we already recycle the formula in day 3. And you think about it, you will find out, yes, we can recycle it again. For lead time is still 2. This one we can recycle it again, so we can just drag it down. So at this point, you find that on day 5, we're simply copying the formula from day 4 onward. And this is what is very common in simulation. At some point, you'll find that you're just copying the formula from the previous period. So that's actually good news, because that means going forward, the chances are you can simply copy all the formula all the way down. Well, of course, you need to be careful about this. You need to think it through, but just let me tell you, the answer for this problem is yes, you actually can. Okay, now let's do the statistics, because we need to find out the cost. So there are 3 things that will generate cost: ending inventory, lost sales, and orders. So let's see how many ending inventory do we have. So I'm going to add using sum to add up all the ending inventories here. I'm going to use the same formula, so I can drag it here to find out all the lost sales. So we have 5 lost sales. Okay, so we need to count how many yes are there over here in this column. So there's a function you can use called count if. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's count if something is true. Okay, let's count in this range. So the first parameter is range. That's the range you wanted to count. Second parameter is the criteria you want to judge on. Okay, they will count if the criteria is met for a cell. So the criteria here is equal to yes. Equal to yes. Okay, so yes, there are 2. So using count if is one way. The other way is, you know what, instead of having yes or no, you can just use 1 or 0 instead. Okay, 1 for order, 1 for yes, 0 for no. So in the end, all you need to do is, again, just sum up this column. That's another way. Okay, either way will work. Now we can move on to find out the estimated annual cost. So every year has 200 days, and we have the 3 costs. So I'm going to find out the annual ordering cost, annual holding cost, and annual lost sales cost. Annual ordering cost is simply the cost per order times, okay, 2 orders out of 10 days. So this number divided by 10, that will give me the average order per day out of the 10 days of simulation. And I'm going to estimate for 200 days, so times 200. So that's the estimated annual ordering cost. Next one, holding cost is 6 per drill per year. I can convert that to daily cost, which is divided by 200. So this is the same as the average daily holding cost. And we have 39 out of 10 days, which is the same as divided by 10. That will give us the average daily ending inventory. Okay, so this is a daily cost times the average daily inventory. So that would give us an average daily holding cost. We have 200 days, so times 200. So that's the result. Lost sales. Again, so each cost me $8. I have 5 out of 10 days, so this divided by 10, so this will be my average daily lost sales number. And I have 200 days, so times 200, okay, comes out this. Now I can have the total annual cost, which is the sum of these 3. Just sum of those 3 numbers. Okay, so that's the answer. So we complete the simulation assuming that the lead time is 2 days. But you know, in fact, it's random. Okay, so I'm going to introduce how you will revise this model to accommodate the fact that the lead time is actually random.